Right now, the FBI is trying to track down the shooter who killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk. While authorities in Utah work to uncover a motive, they are calling this a targeted attack, an attack against a prominent political figure on an American college campus. This heinous attack comes against the backdrop of a nation, folks, that's reeling from a spike in political violence. In a new column for MSNBC.com, Simone writes, quote, "Democracy cannot function under fear. The constitutional promise of free speech means nothing if you can be killed while speaking your mind." Joining us now, Reverend Al Sharpton, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation. He's founder and president of the National Action Network.
Democracy cannot function under fear. I think our friend Simone gets it exactly right.
Exactly right. And I think that we have to see that in this context. Mm-hmm. We've been going through this whole diet of political violence like it's all right. And whether it's Democrat or Republican, it's not all right. I mean, we've seen state legislators killed. We've seen kids shot. We've seen a guy break into Speaker Pelosi's home and almost kill her husband. And we should be as outraged, as much as we may disagree with the politics of this last assassinated victim. We must see it all equally as something that we've got to deal with in this country. We do not yet know the motive or who the person is, but obviously there was a statement being made how he killed and where he killed. And I think that all of us that have been, I was stabbed once leading a march. Mm-hmm. So I know how it is to look at your kids and who have nothing to do with nothing and say, your father could be killed. You've got to stop this. And people on the left and the right have to unite around. We've got to stop political violence.
You know, and thank you guys for reading from the piece. Yes, I was supposed to write about something else today. But after we learned that Charlie Kirk died yesterday, I asked the MSNBC.com team, could I write about the news? Because I was very disturbed. And I made sure in my piece to talk about this in the context of all the string of killings of political public figures over the last just couple of, in the span between Melissa Hortman and her husband and Charlie Kirk is not that far between. But then you think about the 1950s and the 1960s, Reverend Sharpton, and it felt like it was the height of recent history for like a young person like myself of political violence that time.
Yeah, it was. And I think that if you think about those times, I was a kid. I was born in the 50s, but I was a kid when Dr. King got killed and Medgar Evers. People forget that right before the 1963 March on Washington, Medgar Evers was killed. But after the march, in his driveway, for trying to do voter registration. But even after the marches, when you had the bombing in the Birmingham church, killed 4 girls. So it was all of this one right after another. And now we're seeing it in real time again. What is really troubling to me is that we are beginning to normalize this. And I think that this is a time, rather than people choosing sides, we need to take the side of saying this political violence has to stop. Whatever we need to do that.
Reverend, that part is the part that is the critical piece for me. And I want to talk to you as a reverend, not as an activist and all of that, because at the core of the normalization, there is a morality. And in my sense, that morality has been broken. That sense of connection to each other, that we see you as human, not as other. How do you explain that broken piece, that thing that sort of got us through the 30s when the Nazis were sort of trying to march here in New York City and the country said no. In the 50s, as you just laid out, in the 60s, the killing of civil rights leaders in the country said, no, we're going to lean into that because there's a moral reason to do it, right? Because it goes to the human dignity that we want to enshrine in our law, right? What's broken now? What is that you see is not connecting?
I think what is broken is we're defining morality based on who the mortal is rather than what the morality is. And we've got to really bring the country back to what is moral or immoral for everybody.
Right.
So once we take the human side out of whoever we disagree with, then we justify whatever we want to do with them because we don't see them as human. They become a political entity that we have the right to do whatever we want. And they're not that. I disagreed with a lot of what he stood for, Charlie Kirk, but he's a father of children. He's a husband. He's a human being that he has the right to disagree with me with him, no matter how much I disagree with what he's saying. He's still a human being. I do not have the moral right to take his life or even to wound his life. And I think that's where we've done it on both sides. We've seen people on the left or even Democrats killed. And people act like, well, I don't have anything to say about it because I wasn't on their side. We've got to be on the human side. Today is 9/11. Yeah. We saw people killed that had nothing to do with politics. 3,000 people were killed right here in World Trade Center. Some of them I knew. Nobody sent an email in the night before and said, blacks don't come to work tomorrow or Latinos come in late because we're going at the building. They saw us all as Americans. And we died. Those 3,000 died all as Americans. And we have to see ourselves in life the way those that would kill us would see us in death.
To your point about the need for bipartisan leadership on this question, there are 4 U.S. presidents who put statements out. This from Bill Clinton. I hope we all go through some serious introspection and redouble our efforts to engage in debate passionately yet peacefully. From George W. Bush, violence and vitriol must be purged from the public square. Members of other political parties are not our enemies. They are our fellow citizens. Barack Obama, this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. And Joe Biden, there is no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. That is the leadership piece of this. But for the rest of us, as everyday citizens, what is the call to action or connection? How are we supposed to respond in these moments?
We need to respond by people that are unlikely defending the right of people to disagree without facing violence. You are seeing HBCU schools closed down today. People getting threats. We're getting crazy calls at National Action Network. We need to affirm people that are unlikely need to come together and say, we stand together against the violence. As you read 4 ex-presidents, I would have loved to see President Trump reach out to them and say, let's make a statement together. Or one of the 4 say that. Because we are at a point where if we don't stop this, it's going to be this side against that side and who can shoot the most. And I think that we have an opportunity to have a wake-up call to what is our moral standard in this country more than our political standard. So we bring this back into a debate against ideas and our political feelings, even though some of them may be as extreme as far as we're concerned. Nobody's extreme enough to be killed.